Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today, we're going deep on a book that's got everyone talking. It's Make Your Bed
Yeah.
by Admiral William H. McRaven.
Really interesting guy, actually. He's not just some self-help guru.
Right.
He's a former Navy SEAL, like the real deal. Decades of experience. We're talking combat in Afghanistan, Iraq, even leading special ops.
Wow.
Yeah. So these aren't just theories. These are lessons learned in some of the most intense situations you can imagine.
That's what's so fascinating to me, right? It's like you think of a Navy SEAL, you think of, intense training, combat, all that. But then the book starts with something so simple, making your bed.
Yeah, no, it's funny, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't just see it as a chore.
Right.
It's more about setting a standard for yourself, discipline, starting your day with a win, even if it's a small one.
He even tells this story about the sugar cookie ritual during SEAL training,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
where, if your bed wasn't perfect, you had to jump in the Pacific Ocean
Oh, I've heard about this.
and then roll around in the sand until you were covered head to toe.
Oof.
Not exactly the most pleasant motivational technique.
Well, yeah, it wasn't really about the bed, was it?
Right.
More about the mindset. Even in the chaos of SEAL training, he's saying, master the small stuff, and you'll be ready for the big stuff.
I see. So it's not about a tidy room. It's about that mental discipline.
Exactly.
It kind of reminds me of another thing he talks about a lot, teamwork.
Yeah.
Even in a profession that seems so solitary, being a Navy SEAL,
Yeah.
he keeps coming back to how important it is to rely on others.
Absolutely. He shares this really powerful story about a parachute jump that went wrong.
Oh, right.
He was badly injured, and he talks about how his wife's support during his recovery was what got him through it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it shows something really universal, right? We all need that support system.
Mm,
Even the toughest people out there, they rely on their team, their family, their loved ones.
that's so true.
Yeah.
It's not about going it alone.
Right.
It's realizing we all need help sometimes. Which, makes me think of his story about Lieutenant Tom Morris.
Ah, yes. That's a good one.
So when he first met Morris at this SEAL recruitment center, he didn't exactly fit the image of a war hero. He was kind of small, balding, almost frail looking.
Oh, I remember that.
And yet,
Appearances can be deceiving, right?
absolutely.
Morris, it turns out, was a Vietnam vet, shot multiple times, and later became an FBI hostage rescuer.
Wow.
Yeah, facing incredible danger with real skill and bravery. It just shows you never judge a book by its cover, right?
Absolutely. There's so much we don't know about people, those hidden stories.
Yeah.
And speaking of facing challenges, McRaven doesn't sugarcoat things. He's very upfront about how life can be unfair.
That's true.
He actually uses that sugar cookie ritual as an example.
Huh, interesting.
It's like sometimes you get punished even when you haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
It's just the way it goes.
And his point is, don't fight it, accept it. Not in a passive way, but more like dwelling on the unfairness doesn't help, right?
So acknowledge it and move on.
Exactly. Focus your energy on what you can control.
Makes sense. Which kind of leads us to one of the big themes of the book, something I think you can relate to as well. Embracing failure.
Oh, for sure. We all fail.
He talks about his time on this swim team that was always losing.
Yeah, the circus training they had to do because they were always in last place.
Right, those brutal sessions.
Brutal, but effective, right?
So what was it about those sessions that made such a difference?
Well, they were designed to push them to their absolute limit,
Right.
physically and mentally. But the key was they learned to see failure differently.
Oh, so.
It wasn't a setback, it was a lesson. Each loss, each grueling circus session, they learned something from it. Applied those lessons, kept improving, and guess what? They ended up winning that final swim competition.
Wow. Talk about turning things around.
It's proof that perseverance pays off.
And sometimes overcoming failure means taking risks, right? Like McRaven has some pretty intense stories about those tough calls he had to make in high-pressure situations
Oh, yeah. And the one that comes to mind is that daytime raid in Iraq.
to free the hostages.
Exactly. Daytime raids were insanely dangerous.
I can imagine.
And the target compound was barely big enough for the helicopters.
Oh, wow.
But he knew the hostages' lives were on the line. It was a gamble, but a calculated one.
And thankfully it paid off.
Yeah, the hostages were rescued. It really shows the courage it takes to make those kinds of decisions.
Definitely. And speaking of courage, McRaven has some other wild stories,
Oh, I bet.
like swimming through shark-infested waters during SEAL training. That one would have me rethinking my career choices, for sure.
I hear you. But what's interesting is he doesn't pretend to be fearless.
Really?
He admits to feeling fear. but he chooses to act despite it.
So it's that conscious choice that defines courage.
Exactly. We all feel fear, but we have a choice. Let it control us or push through it.
It's like finding that inner strength, right?
And it's not just about physical courage, it's emotional resilience too.
Which brings us to another thing McRaven talks about, being your best self, even when things are really tough.
Yes. He shares some incredibly moving stories about witnessing strength and resilience in the face of tragedy.
He tells that story about the twin brother, right?
Yes, the one who lost his brother in combat. And yet he managed to be there for everyone else, offering support, even in his own grief.
Wow.
It's a reminder that even when we're hurting, we can choose to be a source of strength for others.
That's a powerful message. And it reminds me of another theme he explores,
Mm-hmm.
how hope can have a ripple effect. Even small acts of kindness can make a big difference.
Yeah, like that story from Hell Week, the one about the trainee who was about to quit, and then another trainee starts singing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. It was during that brutal mud night, right?
Exactly. Hours in freezing cold mud, designed to break them. And this one guy, he just couldn't take it anymore.
He was done.
Got up, ready to quit, and then, out of nowhere, someone starts singing.
It's amazing how something so simple in that situation can have such an impact.
Right. And then another trainee joins in, and another. Soon, the whole group is singing.
Wow.
And that shared moment of hope, of camaraderie, it gave the guy who was about to quit the strength to stay.
That's beautiful. It's like we all have the power to lift each other up, even in the darkest times.
Absolutely.
And speaking of never giving up, there's another story McRaven tells that really stuck with me about a soldier named Adam Bates.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Adam Bates lost both his legs to a landmine.
When McRaven visited him in the hospital, he was in really bad shape. Burns, tubes everywhere. It's hard to imagine the pain he must have been in.
And yeah,
McRaven asked him how he was doing, and Bates managed to sign back, "I'm going to be okay."
incredible, isn't it?
That kind of resilience is just awe-inspiring. It speaks to the strength of the human spirit.
It really does. And it brings us to the core of McRaven's message. Never give up, no matter what.
Life will throw punches. You'll have setbacks, moments where you want to quit. But it's in those moments that we define who we are.
Exactly. Do we let those challenges defeat us, or do we rise to the occasion?
Find that inner strength and keep moving forward.
McRaven argues that's where we discover our true potential.
So, what does this all mean for us, for the listeners tuning in to this deep dive?
It means that even the smallest things can have a huge impact.
Like making your bed.
Exactly. It's about setting that standard for yourself, starting your day with intention,
And recognizing the power of teamwork.
surrounding yourself with people who support you, who lift you up,
It's about looking beyond appearances, seeing people for who they really are.
and accepting that life isn't always fair, but choosing to move forward anyway.
It's about embracing failure as a teacher, learning from those mistakes,
Having the courage to take risks, to go after what you want,
being your best self, even when things are tough.
and being a source of strength for others.
Recognizing that hope can spread, that our actions can inspire,
And most importantly, never giving up, no matter what.
because, as McRaven shows us, it's those seemingly small things, those everyday choices, those moments of courage that truly shape our lives.
And create a world where hope and possibility can thrive.
So powerful, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're in that moment about to give up,
Yeah, it would be so easy to just quit.
but then someone starts singing.
And it changes everything.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into Make Your Bed,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what resonated with you the most? What really stuck out?
I think for me, it's that balance McRaven strikes between toughness and compassion.
That's interesting.
Like, he's clearly someone who's faced incredible challenges, but he also emphasizes things like teamwork, kindness, supporting others.
It's not just about being tough. It's about using that strength to do good.
Exactly. And I think that's a really powerful message. It's a reminder that we're not alone in this.
We all face challenges, and we can get through them together.
And maybe the biggest takeaway is that we have a choice.
In how we respond to those challenges.
We can choose to make our bed, literally and figuratively.
To start our day with intention, with purpose.
We can choose to embrace failure.
Learn from our mistakes.
And we can choose to never give up, no matter how hard things get.
So think about it. Which of McRaven's lessons spoke to you the most? How can you apply it to your own life?
Maybe it's starting that new morning routine.
Reaching out to someone who needs a helping hand.
Taking a chance on something you've always wanted to do.
Whatever it is, remember, you have the power to make a difference.
in your own life.
and in the lives of others.
So go out there,
Make your bed
embrace the challenges,
and never give up.
because those seemingly small things,
Those moments of courage
they can have a profound impact.
on your life,
And on the world around you.
it's pretty amazing when you think about it. All these life lessons, starting with something as simple as making your bed.
Right. It's such a powerful metaphor.
And it really speaks to this idea that, small actions can lead to big changes.
Absolutely. It's about setting that intention,
Creating those positive habits.
building momentum.
Yeah, and for me, one of the things that really stood out was McRaven's emphasis on, finding strength in unexpected places.
Like in those seemingly small things.
Exactly. Like making your bed or helping someone out or just choosing to keep going even when it's tough.
Those are the moments that define us.
And they can have a ripple effect,
Yeah.
inspiring others to do the same.
Absolutely. It's like that story about the singing during Hell Week.
It's so powerful.
One person's action.
Changing the whole dynamic.
Exactly. And that's what McRaven's message is all about, isn't it?
It's about realizing that we all have that power.
To make a difference.
Yeah.
To choose courage over fear.
To keep going when we want to quit.
To be a source of strength for others.
And, it's not just about grand gestures.
Right. It's about the everyday choices.
The small acts of kindness.
The moments where we choose to be our best selves.
That's where the real change happens.
And that's what Make Your Bed is all about.
Inspiring us to make those choices.
To embrace the challenges.
And to never, ever give up. This has been another deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
And keep making your bed, deep divers den.